It was a storm-choked evening, beneath a sky that roared like a wounded beast when I first arrived at the forlorn estate of Ravensward. The manor, a hulking, crumbling relic of an age long past, loomed like a specter against the horizon. My profession as an art restorer had brought me there, summoned by a letter as cryptic as it was urgent. Inside, I was to find a forgotten portrait, one whose beauty, the letter claimed, was tarnished by time and something darker. I was greeted at the door by Mr. Hargrave, the owner of the estate, a gaunt man with hollow cheeks and eyes that spoke of sleepless nights. He extended a hand that felt as cold as the grave. "Thank you for coming," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "The painting, it's cursed, though my rational mind rebels at the thought." A curse? I dismissed his words as the fanciful imaginings of a man whose life had been spent in solitude. Yet as the candlelight flickered across his pale face, a chill crept up my spine. The painting was in a room at the end of a long, drafty corridor. When I first laid eyes upon it, I felt an unexplainable heaviness settle over me. It depicted a young woman of extraordinary beauty, yet her expression was one of unspeakable dread. Her hollow eyes seemed to follow me as I moved, imploring, accusing, and beseeching all at once. The background was a swirling void, as though the artist had captured the essence of despair itself. I began my work the next morning, determined to restore the painting to its former glory. But each stroke of my brush seemed to bring her agony closer to life. The room grew colder, and faint whispers began to echo around me. At first I thought it was the wind slipping through the cracks of the old manor, but soon the whispers formed words. "Release me," they sighed. Soft at first, but growing more insistent with each passing day, sleep became a stranger to me. Each night I lay in bed, staring into the darkness, haunted by the woman's hollow eyes that seemed to appear in every shadow. Mr. Hargrave fared no better. His health, already frail, began to wane. One night, driven by fear and obsession, I confronted him. "Who is she?" I demanded, pointing to the accursed portrait. Hargrave hesitated, his hands trembling as he finally spoke. "She was my sister," he admitted, his voice cracking under the weight of his confession. "She was betrayed and slain within these walls." The artist captured her moments before her death. Her spirit lingers, trapped by her torment. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, though the picture they formed was grim. Determined to free her, I delved into the manor's sordid history. Hidden among its secrets, I discovered the truth. A tale of jealousy, rage, and a crime of passion. The young woman had been murdered by a jealous lover, her death covered up, and her cries for justice left unanswered. Guided by the whispers, I unearthed the murder weapon, a dagger, its blade tarnished with age, hidden beneath the floorboards of the very room where the painting hung. With trembling hands, I placed the dagger before the portrait, a symbolic gesture of retribution. The room grew colder still, and the whispers swelled into a deafening roar. The woman's hollow eyes, once filled with despair, now burned with a flicker of light. And then, before my very eyes, she smiled. A fleeting expression of peace crossed her face, before the canvas erupted into a burst of ash, scattering into the cold air. When the storm abated, the manor seemed less oppressive, as though a great weight had been lifted. Mr. Hargrave, though shaken, looked relieved. And yet as I packed my belongings and prepared to leave, I couldn't shake the feeling that her presence lingered still. Even now, as I recount this tale, I feel her gaze upon me. Not the torment of hollow eyes, but the quiet watchfulness of a soul finally unshackled. Some spirits, I suppose, are never truly at rest, and so I left Ravensward. But the memory of that portrait stays with me. For in the hollow eyes of the forgotten, we see not only their pain, but the shadows of our own. Perhaps that is the true curse, the reflection of what we dare not face.